Now, unfortunately, the Cyber Monday sale is probably over by the time you're watching this, but I always find it fun looking at Guitar Center's inventory because you never know what you're going to find. And we're going to pretend we've got an unlimited budget tonight. What is that? Legitimate 60s flying Vs, you don't find those too often. 30,000 in the realm of possibility, but refinished by Murphy himself. Unfortunately, no photos. But they've got one of them double cut juniors, 24. We just talked about them doing their new exclusives, but this one's got all the nice vintage carves to it. And from our photos, appears to be in good shape. In our last guitar hunting episode, I had somebody comment they wish that Guitar Center's photos were better. And they have improved a lot, but I guess now that I'm trying to see the details here, the photo just gets so blurry once it's all zoomed in. I think they should work on having a dedicated camera in every store because the problem is the photos are just so tiny. Even when you click on them to zoom in, it's only that part of the screen. You guys get the luxury of watching the episode edited when I really zoom in and make things nice. Or perhaps it's just a website issue because yeah, these photos need to be bigger. If you see something you're really interested in, at least they have the contact information. Full disclosure, tonight's episode is not sponsored by them. I'm just shopping for something cool for the channel. What catches my attention on this one? Hey, it's miraculous that they actually have 2 of these things in stock. But is that a cut and they added a new piece to the body? Or is it most likely just a shadow? I don't know. It's there on the back. Is it weird wood grain? I know there was one guy out there famous for restoring guitars like that, but he's usually a little bit more spotless. I even see it here. If completely legit, that's kind of a cool character mark. I'm surprised to see they also have a TV model junior. Those are getting kind of hard to find. But here's a model you don't see every day. Johnny Smith Double in cream? My goodness, I don't think I've ever seen one of those in white before because typically when I think a white like this on an electric guitar, I think about like 1974. Anything before that is like the SGs. And they don't always get this creamy yellow. That's the perfect buttercream finish. And to see the aging and the finish checking on a jazz box is just awesome. And hey, look at this photo. I like this one. I think that whole AI cut it out to make it the white background. I get what they're going for, but I think it's more effective for them to not remove the background because it leaves a little bit more detail within the photos. Perhaps that's a refinish or a really rare model. I don't know anything about the Johnny Smith model, but even searching up white Johnny Smith, I don't find anything except for that one. According to these guys, it's original. That's really cool. And this just seems like a good deal. $13,000. I know, that's a lot for an SG, but this is the custom shop Monkey. They were, what, $20,000 brand new? I think they made fewer of them in the left-handed version, so if you want the version that Tony himself would have been playing, that's for you. And that'd be $1,000 off of that. Maybe, just maybe, that's in resale territory. They've just had it sitting for too long. But what's really cool about these is they have a lacquered fretboard and a 0 fret nut. But you can check out this episode if you want to learn all about those. We documented the right-handed and the left-handed, as well as later on the Gibson USA production version. This 330 has 2 things that I like about it. The first one being occasionally in the late 60s, you'll find these Gibson branded pick guards. It's a very characteristic late 60s, early 70s logo. I'm not even sure what it's supposed to be, but I just find it really cool. And not being a tried and true 330 guy, I've always appreciated these long neck varieties. It certainly adds to their vintage quirky charm. However, I just like the full length of the neck being outside of the body just a bit better since I'm more familiar with an ES335. But seeing that in natural and with the chrome pickup covers, that's awesome. I love it. And oh, okay. Not much in the wood grain department. However, I've been seeing a few of these lately, maple necks within the late 60s, and they're multi-pieced. I don't know enough to tell you how rare that is, but I would imagine this was a custom order. In fact, now that I think about it, maybe this was the one I saw on Reverb and now it's at Guitar Center. Next, a relatively affordable 66 SG. There we go, another really high resolution photo. That's the thing, when you're shopping Guitar Center stores, some of them are better than others. They have access to better cameras or phones or whatnot. Looks like we got some sort of a replaced washer there. A couple of screws missing, likely means our pickups have been in and out and played around with a little bit. But the big question on these vintage SGs are, do they have heel cracks or various other repairs? At first glance, looks like the heel's okay on this one. Maybe even the headstock being straight. That seems like a good price. We better read the description though. No case. Come on, guys. It's a $10,000 guitar. Give it a case. But it's got the wide nut. They're saying it's got a PAF pickup in the neck and the patent sticker in the bridge. That could be something to look into if you're in the market for a vintage SG. The nut has definitely been replaced on that though. I can't tell if it's brass or just a really weird bone color. And if we're being nitpicky, our crown was off center. And it's got a relatively low Gibson logo too. Here's a fun one. 7400 is quite expensive. But okay, now I see why. It's been Murphy Lab aged. We see these one pickup Les Paul Customs occasionally, but I don't think we've seen an aged one before. That's certainly a unique look. I mean, normally I would associate a guitar like this worth between $5,000 and $6,000, but adding the Murphy tax, I mean, they're about right. Whoa, and they even spec'd it out with a stinger? Nice. Although, I would definitely want verification. Is that actually staining on the neck? Or is that just a shadow? I wonder if that's a customer abandoned order, because that thing's like brand new this year. If you're shopping on Monday, that makes it like, what, 65? That's about right. Look what they've got, one of those 50th anniversary gold tops. We just recently reviewed and documented one of those and gave it away with Reverb. That's right. All you had to do is watch a listing. Tonight's episode's not sponsored by them either, but they've moved on to the next December one already. Watch and win. It's one of those noir jazz masters. We've documented one of those in the past too. Those are great guitars. But as far as the winner of the gold top, looks like it's John from Wisconsin. That May discovered the Easter eggs hidden on that guitar, to the internet's dismay. But hey, John, if you watch the show, feel free to leave a comment so we can all congratulate you. But Guitar Center has this one available if you need one in your life. Decent serial number on that one too. 8. Ooh, here's one I still need to review yet. Maple fretboard. However, when first looking at this, I thought it was a Norlin era. It's not. One look at that headstock tells you you're at least within the 2000s, and when they did the maple fretboards is Richlight era, 2011 through 2019 primarily. So if I were a betting man, I would call this one 2012. And darn, I was off by 1 year. It's first year 2011, judging by our serial number. But you know what? You don't find many of the ebony finish in that era. It's usually like a straight up natural or something exotic like this flametop red. Now we've got a Heritage 80. I always like to check these, mainly because about 4 years ago, somebody paid me a large sum of money just to keep my eye out for a specific serial number. And that one is limited edition 1234. I found it, but apparently there was a duplicate serial because that one wasn't it. So yes, I am still looking, my friend. But I always like to look at the tops of these as well. I mean, look at that. Interesting double bird's eye effect. Otherwise, this looks like a pretty plain top, and I love the plain top Heritage guitars. They're beautiful. Anymore, they've become more rare than the figure tops, but it wasn't always that way. But what do we got on this one? Looks like $499. Still a good number, one of the first 500, dating to the 249th day of 1980. Yo, lefty alert. You don't see too many early 70s lefty guitars, and when you do, they're usually not in that good of shape. The top looks okay. However, as we come up here, you can see, wow, somebody has played that extensively. Do you guys see that? That is not a dirty fretboard. That is fingernail divoting wear with a little combination of gunk. Wow. And yet the headstock looks so clean. Gotta see the back now. Surprisingly, it doesn't look like it's all chewed up by buckle rash. And the neck doesn't look too worn either, so that's just somebody who loved and respected the guitar. They just happen to have too long of fingernails. And apparently played it for a living. That's cool. And you can actually tell these have likely been taken care of their whole life. That's why they haven't been replaced yet. Because if you don't constantly lubricate these things, that's when they break. Now, this is a pretty good find if it is what they say it is. It's supposed to be a 2005 Silverburst. Now, you guys got to remember, Silverburst in general starts to make a slow resurgence around this time. But it was just a regular one. I think it's 2001. Sam Ash does the black backs, and then they slowly come back throughout the custom shop. But what you have to remember about this one is it's a 68 reissue, and 68 reissues have a golden period in the mid-2000s. You don't see them in this finish every day. I doubt it actually started life this aged, so that's kind of cool in and of itself. That it's yellowed so heavily. Looks like we've got some finish checking and flaking by our logos. That's just commonplace. I'd love to see some photos of the back of the neck or just the full back of the body, but unfortunately they're not there. That'd be my advice to you guys over in Clearwater. However, that's not the worst price, especially Silverburst. Those have such a crazy premium to them usually. That's a good rare find. Seeing this one made me scrunch up my eyebrows. A Cardinal Red Les Paul Custom. Not only that, it's a 57 reissue, so you get the ABR1 bridge and the mahogany top, but in lefty and such an exotic finish, as they had to have tinted the clear coat on top of that. Apparently it has a metal fretboard and is reflecting the lights. Nah, it's just the AI program taking out some of the guitar, but it's got the modernized headstock to it. We can believe our serial number looks like it's a 2024 produced one. Reminds me a lot of the 80s Ferrari Red. I had to click on this one because it said Torrified. Woo! Be still my heart, that's a good top. Like, yeah. The wood grain mineral streaks, really heavy wide flame, the nice natural amberedness. If this was like a 68 reissue with the ABR1 bridge, I might consider it even further. Although, if you guys didn't notice, I swear Gibson has reduced the price of a 68 reissue custom recently over on their website. I think by about $500. But, black back. I was thinking about looking past the bridge, but they lost me with the ebony back. But that is another 2025. At least they threw the Kluson Waffleback style tuners on there for bonus points. I think it was Music Zoo or somebody who was doing the Torrified tops. That just means they bake it and get the moisture out. Still though, if you're thinking like Bolin Burst or something, I could see that speaking to the right guy. Well, that's fun. One of the white Lennon acoustics. But now one of the ES LPs. That's too much. Most of what we've seen tonight has been like, in the realm of reality. I cannot personally suggest paying that much for one of the ES LPs. They're just not that good, in my opinion. They feel like cheap toys. However, if you need a nice light guitar that looks the part, they're fantastic for that. But anytime you go over 3,000, I just don't think they're worth it. But the customs are much more rare than the standards. I think by the time you're paying that much for your investment, you should probably get the Alex Lifeson signature because it'll hold value better. Now, don't confuse these with the Florentine customs. Those are built completely differently. This next one seems suspiciously well priced. A white Carina? There it is. Wow, somebody installed a Kaler on it. That takes extra effort on their part because it's not even just routing the guitar out. You gotta cut through the metal tailpiece. Although I've got to say, I don't completely hate it. And generally these are, 8, 10,000, half price. It's a very late serial number, E54. But darn, they don't have the one photo I wanted to see. The back. I was curious if they modified the Kaler to still have this be string through or something crazy, or if they filled those in. But these specs are not right. It's Carina body and neck. And depending on the hardshell case, the original 80s Flying V Lifton style cases are worth quite a bit on their own. Ah, yes, there we go. Ferrari Red 85 Custom. This is something I could consider because I still need this custom color in my collection. So 85, knobs aren't going to age. It's got the white base coat. It looks like a seam line is showing right here. I know that seems like a reflection, but I'm betting due to the area that is going to be visible. Got a couple of dings. Continue on up here. Gold hardware's not in the best of shape, but far from the worst. It would clean up pretty nicely. We've still got the Tim Shaw PAF stickers on the rings. That's fun. Has an aftermarket Gen 2 chainsaw case. Rusty hinges. Be careful with those. They hurt your fingers for days when they're splintering. Looks like we got a couple of replaced latches on there too. It's looking like it might have a bit too much wear for my personal collection. But if you don't mind a bit of wear, that seems like a fair price. Although some of these angles make me question, is it actually candy apple red? Hey, that's pretty crazy. It's a Les Paul Artist. We need an updated take on these. It's got the Active Moog electronics in it. However, somebody put the double cream DiMarzios or something else in there, which means they likely gutted everything else out and used these as mini toggle switches for phase inversion as well as coil splitting. But it's got that nice rustic three-tone sunburst going on. We can also tell it has been refretted. Looks like stainless steel to me. But keep in mind, these actually have a comfort cut on the back, and they do not have the back edge binding. So even though they look like a custom from the front, technically more so a dressed up standard. I swear we look at one of these every time. I still need to document this particular version of the L5S. It's one of the few low impedance series pickup guitars that I have not done yet. I feel like those would just suit this body style so well. I just don't love the finish on that one. Like, there's something to be said for Cherry Sunburst, but I've already documented that color. I want to spice it up. Check this thing out. Makes me sad I'm not a lefty. That is crazy. So not only is it Silver Burst, but it's a sparkle Silver Burst, oddly specced out with cream plastics. If they didn't throw an ebony fretboard on there, that's a missed opportunity. It looks like a super dark rosewood to me. But on top of that, it's an R4 wrap tail, P90 pickups and all. That would sell instantly as a righty. However, as a lefty, I would imagine that's a fairly slim market. You have to find someone like-minded like me that likes the weird, crazy stuff. Ultimately, I'd probably go with black plastics, though. I do still need a wine red 50th anniversary, but black is the only color we haven't documented. This one has definitely yellowed, to say the least. Looking cool, though, because it's got the gold and silver look, and then it's all gold. Hear me out. Pick off the lacquer for just the Les Paul part and like maybe just the S. That way it continues the whole gold silver theme. That's a bit blasphemous, but it looks like we've got some cracking by the knobs. The finish is so dark it nearly looks ebony, but no, that is one of the wine red ones. And oh cool, somebody upgraded it with posi locks. This is another fun one, but I want it to be in stop bar variety, but man, that thing looks pretty clean. I'd been aware that Guitar Center had one, but I didn't notice the condition. Looks like you do have a ding right there on the neck, though. Currently listed at $46. That's ironic. They have a Sweetwater exclusive guitar in their shop. These things really aren't even that old. I would imagine they got that as a trade-in. And this thing's kind of crazy in its own right. They're calling it a 63 reissue custom shop. However, whenever you see a 64 Vibrola with the two humbuckers, that's Elliot Easton spec. You know, I think I see the outline of the G for Gibson. Somebody just custom ordered it to be Easton spec'd. I think his has like a Tiki Man on it, doesn't it? It's either that or I'm thinking of the Firebird. That's his. If you've always hated the 3 pickup SG thing, this one is too. Now this title, it excites me because it says 2010s Gibson Custom Shop. I know to the average viewer, you're probably like, whatever, another Silver Burst. Skip. Next one, Trogly. Hear me out. 2016, there was a small batch of antique Silver Burst, like before the crazy hype. And I remember being so excited that those things existed. And even though nowadays they're kind of obsolete, I still would like to document one. It's from the Richlight era and everything. But sadly, looking at that headstock, it could either be 2010 or 2020. Looking at the medallion, it's probably 2020. So not quite what I'm after. Leroy Parnell. If you don't know the story about these, you might just pass by thinking, another boring gold top. It's the back of the headstock you want. They've got a crazy cool stinger with a decorative serial number, I guess is the best way to put it. Apparently they've still got Gemmo over there. And hey, it is Christmas time. I'm still waiting for the white artisan, but this one looks pretty nice at 42. I mean, first impression, frets look good. Headstock's nice and yellowed. Looks like an earlier 70s version. Somebody's replaced our toggle switch tip, but okay, it's probably 76 with those style knobs. Gold appears to be in good shape. Look really closely, you can see his pancake body construction, so that tells us likely pre-78. Still a 3-piece top, so not a late 80s weird thing. Some gold loss. Closer look at our headstock. A little bit of chipping here. It's not that big of a deal. I would say this is the biggest chip that bugs. Ah, man, there it is. That's why it's such a good price. Why do people do that? It just boggles my mind. Les Paul's balanced perfectly right here. You don't need to sink it back in there, but I see it all the time. That was the main reason I sold my old bearded lady. But I was close. 1977 Les Paul Artisan. I do not have one of the decaled ones. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That's a steal. Like, I want to post it onto my Facebook and Instagram. That's a good one. Because usually people are asking like, 7, 10K. They're not necessarily getting it. That 3.5 to 6.5 range is usually when there's interest. That's a beautiful one. Love that smoky walnut. But ooh, that one's got a bad case of fret gap. I've got an E2. That's the CMT. I'm looking for the regular, but whoa. Excuse me? I've never seen one played like that before. Wore through to the bare maple body. Here's a cheaper way to get the Dave Grohl white limo. Just have to make a few sacrifices as far as cosmetics. You know what? That actually is really tempting. The Diamond F-Hole series. You don't see them all the time, but that's a great way to save yourself like 20 grand off the used market. Poor Mod Shop RO. I remember when this one was brand new, I said, yeah, mod guys, the dot inlay thing was a bad idea. And to be fair, there are guys who love dot inlays. Like if they're a 335 or that's what their first guitar had and they want their last or more professional guitar to have it, the right person, yes. But you can tell by how much that one has been marked down from its initial $6,700 plus price tag that there's a limited buyer pool for it. But you know what? I almost feel bad for it. Like, I want to document it at this point. And when I can't sell it either, it'll just join the 1P90 neck pickup junior. Shanker Vs are always cool. Stop bar variety, even better. I would say that's in better shape than my current one, but is it? Nah, it's custom shop edition rather than custom shop original. And somebody put Ibanez strap buttons on it. That's funny. And sure enough, the reason mine's an original is because I had regular Tim Shaw PAFs in it, whereas this has the normal Dirty Fingers humbuckers. That's a pretty cool pink poly. Another Diamond F-hole series, this time in blue. Even better if you want the Foo Fighters. This looks like a whole lot of guitar for the money. Vintage Junior, routed for a humbucker. Sure, it's a little bit mangled, but you're going to pay more than that just for a reissue. And this one's got all the character and charm. I like that. I'm impressed. Another relatively affordable artisan. This one's had the pickups replaced, but those things are prone to dying anyway. That's to the point where once it's $3,000, it's a great buy for a player, even with some replaced parts. Here's a really strange looking 78 Deluxe. And ooh, did I find something here? 3,500. It's got the Supreme style inlays, Super 400. So sometimes this could be like a super custom limited edition. Looking at the back, that's a no. It's just a regular custom. But oh man, it actually is within the serial number range. 2007 when they were doing those super customs. Looks like it has an aftermarket case. That's a good buy. I could see that selling on Reverb for like $5,000. Don't worry about the lack of COA because that would have been a paper certificate at that time. That's a fun designer series. If only I didn't have the blue squiggles, people might like it more. Clicking on this one, I thought, is that a spotlight? Like a really ugly one? But no, what it is the original pick guard shaded that area to give you the illusion of that right there. That's funny. You don't see many blister bird's eye maple tops from 80. This thing has its own characteristic patina going on. An 80s custom light. Someone absolutely butchered it with a B5 Bigsby, but that's why you were able to save quite a bit. Oh, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that a legitimate Les Paul signature? I highly doubt it. However, it's not his usual utensil of signing, but I would not personally suggest buying that signature as authentic. The guitar is, though. Here's one of the limited editions from 2017. It's got a nice Koa top. Yeah, I say that it's nice that it has the Koa top, but I was hoping this was the version that had that figured back on it yet, too. That is a different limited edition from this same year. Seems most of the Koa top Les Pauls just really aren't that beautifully done. But speaking of rare versions of those ES LPs, here's the P90 Gold Top version. This was a small limited edition run. That's to the point where, yes, you're paying a slight premium, but I think it's still fair for this version. It's kind of tempting to document that. But I think that's enough hunting for tonight's episode. Quite a few cool guitars. Did I buy one? Did I not? I don't know. I think I might have to make a part 2 because I had sorted it from high to low and now I'm getting to all the excited $3,000-ish listings where a lot of cool stuff shows up. That's a bit more affordable. All right, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed window shopping with me tonight. If you're interested in any of the things that we talked about and you would like to help support the show, I do have Guitar Center affiliate links that you can utilize within the description. All you gotta do is click on them, then go to checkout, and I will be credited with the sale. All right, take care.